Hi, this is Stu of Stu's Roulette blog, and I'm here to talk you through the Fibonacci system. Now, you may have noticed at the top of the page actually describing the theory to this system, I've put a note saying I don't think you should try this. In my professional opinion, and even in my personal opinion, I've never seen this system do too well. I've seen it get people out of losing streaks, but I've never really seen anyone make much of a profit from it, not a profit that you can really boast about anyway. So that being said, let's move on to what the actual system is. Now, some roulette systems will require the player to know some basic math, or maybe something a little bit more complicated. The Fibonacci system, however, demands a little bit more from the player. One of those things is how the betting actually works. But before we get into that, let's do the usual thing. You have to decide how much one unit is going to be. Now, to make things easy, I've made it £1, just £1. You can make it whatever you like, but I'd advise you keep it small, and to be honest, I'd also advise you keep it fairly simple as well, because this can get a little bit complicated later on. So £1 is probably fine. Now you'll be betting on the even bets for this one, which are outside bets, so you'll be ignoring all the individual inside numbers, and you'll also be ignoring the dozens and the columns. So instead you'll be sticking to high and low, that's these two. You'll be going with evens and odds, or you'll be going with red and black. Now I always go with black, so let's start with that. Now this is a negative progression system, where rather than doubling your bet, or halving your bet, or raising it by one extra unit, you actually raise it to a system. So as you can see, I lost there, so I'm going to move it to the next level, which is 2. Now the way that this system works is that you add up your previous bets to make up the next bet, and you always consider the 2 bets before your first bet 0 and 1. So my first bet was 1 because 0 plus 1 is 1. Then my second bet was my last bet, 1, plus the number 4, 1, so 2. Now as you can see, I won there, so I go back to you always go down 2 stages until you reach your first bet, which is 1. So let's clear the bet, do it again. Now, there is a big problem with this system in the fact that if you do hit a long losing streak, you need more than one win to actually get back. And even though you are betting on the even bets, so you've got nearly half the wheel covered, it's still quite possible for you to go on a long losing streak. So I lost there. Do the 1 plus 1, that's 2. So if I lose this one, I'll do the previous bet plus the one before, which is 2 plus 1, so I'll be betting 3. And this goes on in this order for... It can go on indefinitely if the table has no betting limits, but it probably will. Now I lost again, so do 2 plus 1, that makes 3. Now it's not so much that this is difficult maths, obviously most of you will be able to add numbers up together. It's just the fact that if you are on a long losing streak, like I am at the moment, the numbers can get a little bit awkward, plus it requires you to actually remember your bets. So I just bet 3, 3 plus 2 is 5. Could have just done the one chip, but whatever, there we go, 5. And for all of you who are reasonable with maths, you'll know that if I do win this, which I have not, if I did win it, I would have gone back to my original point, so I wouldn't have made a profit. I wouldn't have lost anything, which is nice, but I wouldn't have won anything either. So we keep going on. 5 plus 3 is 8, so there's 8. Now I'm on 1982 after starting on 2000, so for those of you who are good with odds, good with maths, you'll know that once I get this 16, which I just won, I'm still 2 under. However, rather than going straight back down to 1 unit, I instead go back 2 stages. So I just bet 8. Now I have to bet 3 because that's the one before my last bet. And the idea is that hopefully I'll win this and it'll put me £1 into profit, which isn't really that good a profit if you consider it up to some of the other systems I've done where you've seen me winning hundreds at a time. But I did win, so it's clear the bets. It puts me on 2001. It's alright for catching up losses, but I wouldn't advise it if you want to actually make a profit, because I've done so many spins now, at least give or take 7, maybe 8, and it's put me £1 in profit. That's nothing to really write home about. So it's up to you, of course, but as long as you remember the system, so you add your 2 previous bets together, and if you win, you go down 2 until your first bet. That's all you really need to know. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to hear more of my video tutorials, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Otherwise, visit me at roulette.co.uk and